Preparing to live stream. Minor heart failure when I couldn't get it to start. So we are now live on YouTube. So we're just going to give it a minute. Hello. So we're just going to give it a minute while people find us. There we go. And I'm just going to share the link in the relevant places. So give me 1 sec. And we'll just do a little sound check to start with. So as people come on, if they could just let me know if they could hear me, that would be amazing.
Good day to everyone.
Good day.
We love you.
Good
all.
day to the beautiful Josh and Michelle.
Hi.
So nice to have you with us. Are you still manifesting sunshine where you are?
We haven't put any energy towards it recently. It's more towards the website. So the clouds are here.
The clouds are here.
Yes.
Yes. Well, this is our final virtue session. I'm just going to manifesting sunshine. There we go. People are joining us. Good evening, Richard. Good evening, Tina. Good evening, Fiona. Hello, Teddy. You made it. So you beautiful Dharma beings, could you please let me know if you can hear me okay? Thank you, Helen. Perfectly on schedule. And would you be kind enough as to share this YouTube, please, into some groups, and so we can let other people know where we are and that we are live this evening. Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Angel. There we go. Excellent. Yeah, we'll just give it. Hey, Gab. Nice to have you here. Hello, Robin. Lovely to have you here. Tash, Donna, Richard. Lovely. Fantastic. Yeah, I'd really appreciate it, guys, if you could help us get the numbers up. Just let people know that we are live. And I thought, actually, thank you, Tash. I thought tonight, just before we start the virtue, because it's our final virtue, obviously humility and pride this evening. Before we start, I'd just love to remind people what the mission is, please, Josh and Michelle, because you guys have got a very crystal clear vision, and funnily enough, it aligns totally with what my vision for the planet and obviously creating the world we want to live in is. So I just would love to sort of remind people why we're doing this, really, and where their money will go if they come and join us in the program, what we want to do and what we're creating, really.
First of all, with the virtues, it is the most direct path to the progression to find oneself, breaking boundaries and limitations of who they previously were, to be able to be simply guided to the insights of the spiritual world that exists for each and every one of us to tune into, creating freedom and liberation from all pain and suffering that exists within this realm. And what we are trying to do is to create a space in every country that this space is available, to create fruit forests and healing centers, and to be able to show everybody how simple it is to create abundance when you work with creation. So this will act as a domino effect for the up and coming society that would be the breakaway from the matrix as this transitional period happens through what we would call the corona, or the crown of our own awakening.
And I think with the collective consciousness that we're trying to raise with ourselves and the collective is that to truly love one another and yourself, to find that self-love, and to have gratitude for everyone and everything, so that we can really show and shine the light towards the path and the steps that we're trying to create with the virtues. Is that, you know, as a collective we are so strong, and we can break down any of the boundaries that are put in the way and really raise the bar of humanity.
This is where the communities come into being, because right now at the moment we've got a few communities that have been brought together, Portugal and Costa Rica, and we've got 90 members around that sort of number on each at the moment. And everyone's communicating to be able to find spaces together or to see if people are aligning. And as such, on our website, we've got all the countries all over the world where people can start to communicate and to look to coexist. But we want to raise awareness with community, because in numbers we are so much more powerful. We don't have to be living on top of each other like the previous communities, or communities that sometimes exist egoically, but to create land with such space that everybody would have their own acre, their own garden, their own space to progress and to blossom into these beautiful beings that we all have the capability to reach. And then have this central point where we create this abundant fruit forest for the community to thrive with. And then a central place for those that choose to integrate with each other to have a space where they can all congregate. And this is how we need to exist moving forward, because we pay an extreme price to live inside the cities or live inside areas that we do not live or like or communicate with our neighbors as such. And there's no community there. So we can utilize the awareness that we have to bring union together and buy spaces to coexist and to create and grow together in a higher form of awareness.
All of the virtues are based around the coming back to the center, the heart, and the now, the present. And if we can live in that balanced state of harmony and peace, and bring everyone to that state, there is no need for all of this outside interest all the time with the governments and everything. If everyone can live as abundant and free and express themselves freely, there is that balance is there, and there's no need for the external to be coming in and taking over. We've got that balance within us. We're born with that, and the programs take us away from that, and we're trying to bring everyone back to that center point.
And at the same time, we're trying to create these non-profit organizations or businesses, or you could say trusts, that allow people to have a sort of membership to by just paying an entry fee, which will then accumulate to such a large amount of wealth that we will be able to create non-profit organizations that would supply food, for example, in England, where it takes out the profit margin and the waste of the products, and have this import-export type of system that people would be paying, 5-10% of what they would be at this present time when we have the beast involved. So we need to just boycott the system of commerce that is for profit, and amongst ourselves, we need to unite and create a new system that works alongside the commercial realm, but it has the profit taken out, which will create a space for people who want to work in those situations. It doesn't mean that people wouldn't get paid for the services that they do to provide it, but it means there won't be any giant.
It's not just about profit driven. Yeah, no, fantastic. I love it. And I love, there's so many things there I could pick up on. Obviously, as we become more and more virtuous, as we open our energy centers, we're self-governing, really, aren't we? The more that we raise our frequency, when we are out of alignment in some shape or form, we really feel it in our energy field. So the virtues obviously is this beautiful system that actually could help govern humanity. Like, not govern's probably a strong word, but it creates a framework for beings to live within.
It overrides the ego. That's what these virtues do. If you apply them, what it does is it acts as an override mechanism where you can destroy the ego very subtly. And what truly happens at that point is the ego finds interest in the spiritual dimension and focuses attention there, because it feels like it can actually acquire more power. And then it almost tricks itself into becoming its own destruction.
Can you elaborate a bit more on that, please? Because I know lots of people would love to hear how that works.
Yeah,
not quite at that level.
As we begin to see into the spiritual side, the identity or the form sees that there's something to acquire which will give one more power. So the journey of spirituality leads one to the non-thinkingness of the state of oneness. which aligns the chakras, aligns the energy centers, and increases the Kundalini energy, which turns you from an electrical being to a magnetic being and expresses life dynamically in such different ways. So what allows the switch and the focus point with the attention is actually because the mind is still engaged and the ego is still powerful. When you start to engage in the spiritual life, it wants to seek and it wants to find to gain more power. But in its own searching for more power, you start to awaken the spiritual side, which then unlocks this space. And then it actually is his own death as it progresses into the righteous right side.
And this is what humility is about tonight. This evening is about empowering others and really taking that, that compassionate, loving way to help beings elevate their consciousness, to bring them on the journey with you, and not, the pride, which is the sin of humility, is to collect everything and want that self gratitude and that self-righteousness there, whereas humility is bringing everyone along with you and really raising that bar together. And that's the key factor is empowering others to really help them to see the light through the darkness.
I was just going to say, let's come on and really unpack then, because obviously that's why we're here this evening, to discuss the virtue of humility kind of / pride. Like, I'd love to kind of unpack that further. Like, I always think of humility as being humble. Is that how you would describe humility?
The first 3 letters are the same.
Is that where it ends?
Finished. There's some things, you like the ringing words that help people see and resonate with what this is. What we need to do is to change the egoic mind that wants notice, or it wants people to notice it for the accomplishments that it creates. So we dampen that and we cause a smothering over the mind as it tries to seek acknowledgement for the actions that you have. That is a sign of pride, to express oneself in a way where others will look upon them as they are greater than the others. So you could say it's not about thinking you are better than someone else. It's actually about knowing that you are better than you were.
Knowing that you are better than you were.
It's not about thinking how much better you are than somebody else. It's about knowing that you are better than you were. So what the ego will try to do, or the mind in its oppressive state of dominance, you acquire a new sense, for example, maybe clairvoyance, maybe intuition, or it might just be a higher form of intellect and knowledge. Let's just say the flat earth. Now, because someone believes, or the mind itself feels like it has more power over someone else, it will try to control itself and dominate by almost preaching or trying to say, do you know the earth is flat, and don't you know this, and I'm better than you for this. And what's happening there is you're actually beginning to believe that you're better than someone else. But the trick is actually to know inside of yourself that you are better than you were previously. And you're actually building one's temple up with the humility that goes alongside of it. Because without humility, you become lost in ego and not free from it.
I suppose that's a kind of trap that many beings can fall into, especially on the consciousness raising path, because as you do raise your consciousness, you kind of sometimes can see other people looking at the world in a different way, and you're looking at it maybe from this elevated perspective, and the tendency is, as you said, maybe to look down on that other person in some shape or form.
How many people do you know that without question or without reverberation from the mind can give charity anonymously?
Very true, yeah.
See, to give someone something anonymously will empower yourself and crush the pride that lays within us dormant.
What I think a lot of beings struggle with as well is actually truly listening on that side of things, because if within you, listening to your heart is very difficult because the brain activity takes over so much. So really stepping back from that and bringing yourself inwardly and really saying, what does my heart want? What do I really truly want to be like? And then it's as within, so without. So knowing that you're doing something not from pride, but from humility, and really listening to that inner tutor and saying, is this from my heart or my head? And if it's from the head, which wants recognition, the pride, this is from the ego attachment. And whereas if it comes from the heart, it's just truly giving. It doesn't want anything back in return. It is just giving. And like nature is to us, it just gives and gives and gives, and it doesn't expect anything back in return. It's not egoic at all. And this is where we can really step within ourselves and become so calm and balanced and centered in the present moment, and say, this is what I can truly give to humanity. Is
effortless.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't want recognition for anything. It just is. And this is what the state of balance we need to come back to really truly raise that consciousness on a whole new level.
So a kind of question that I feel like maybe our audience would have, especially we're talking about humility, and we're talking about not almost putting our beliefs or what we understand on other people. Because obviously at the moment, the tendency is a lot of beings are waking up, they are having consciousness shifts, they are discovering about flat earth. And the natural thing as a human is you go, oh my God, this is so exciting. I want everybody to be on this journey with me. So you do want to share it. So could you just speak to that a little bit? Because I know this is something our audience are facing a lot, and this is obviously an important part of our journey, that we don't get sucked into being in our ego around it.
Mm-hmm. Truly, the mind wants to share, and the ego wants to share, because it wants recognition of what is found. Now, if we want to speak directly about the ultimate truths, you see, the causality, or you could say the material world that exists, and the information that's carried alongside of it, serves a purpose to free oneself on their own journey and separate themselves from the paradigm of the matrix, because of the reverse teachings that we've all been given within the commercial realm, or you could say the devil or Babylon. Now, the purpose of Babylon is to be able on and to enable the right side. And this is Cain. Are you cocaine? Or are you able? The fact that we are trying to enable ourselves and turn to the righteous side of the mind is to be right, which is bright, which carries the light. Now, the light to enlighten the mind can only be found once you've gone past the bridge and you've left what we would say the left side behind. So it's only the mind that's trying to create this shape. Truly what's happening is one's building their temple, and each and every single one of us alone are on our journeys. As we progress on our journey, we actually create a vibration that raises the field, and the collective mind rises slightly. So the purpose of us taking our own journey to build our own temple of the solo mon, which is the solo one, is to individually raise ourselves. If we focus on trying to raise others, we start spreading hearsay and untruths. And the ultimate truth is each and every one of us needs to go within inside of ourselves to raise our awareness to actually find this space directly. The rest of it is taking people on an indirect pathway to the space that truly exists.
So am I correct in what I'm hearing is it's a really individual, personal journey that almost everyone has to sort of find their way through themselves?
Yeah.
You must recognize everything about yourself. And this is only found when you go into a space of, you could say, contemplation, meditation, acceptance, surrender, the application of the virtues, giving anonymously, without recognition, not allowing any of these mind systems to be able to pop up, to push them back down. And as you do, your vibration raises and you become free from the mind. And as you become free from the mind, you become more and more yourself. And as you become more and more yourself, you become more and more divine, more and more free. And as you become freedom, love itself is the resonance. And when you vibrate at love, the power that it expresses through this divine system of the earth, it serves so much more than any information that could ever be given to anyone just by turning the light on.
With the information as well comes a lot of judgment. So beings tend to make a judgment and say maybe, oh, you know, you don't know this side of things, you need to know it and you need to be this. And, you know, what we spoke about before on with the small steps is very important, that if you give too much information to someone that's not actually ready for it, they can't handle it, because their body expresses the negativity, they pull away from it. It's like they push you away with you can lose friends and family over it. And it's not just the information, it's that you're supposed to be the one shining the light rather than the one giving the judgment on beings. And if you're saying that, oh, you need to be this way to be at this level and this, it's a trap that it's setting you back in a way, because it's giving you that the ego's trying to grab that pride again and say, I've got this information and I can help guide you and I can do this, but it actually doesn't help them initially. You might have the ultimate truth there, but if someone's not ready for it, then they can't accept it. So it has to be in an incremental stage for beings to really, go on their journey to enlightenment.
These truths that we see that are within the physical world, as you progress, the earth may be flat physically. It's not the ultimate truth of what it is. And then as you progress, you begin to see that when you understand the magnetism, you'll see that it's energetic, and the positive and negative, masculine, feminine, they touch, they create an inertial plane. This inertial plane is the light lane that all light will exist and all manifestation and form happens. But then even beyond all form exists those things. So truly there is no thing, there is something, there is everything. And all these things arise from one thing, and that's the mind of consciousness. So if someone's looking for a direct pathway to the truth, the direct pathway would be the slow and steady steps to self-empowerment, to be able to do what's right in every single moment, to make the right choices, to be able to conquer the ego and the world that's been given to us, the judgmental world. The reason why we've been given the TV with the celebrities, Sally being celestial, bright ties. They're the stars, the bright star ties. And there's a reason why they're called idols, because the idols keep you idle. And that world there serves a grand purpose, to keep one still, stasis and static. Now, the progression from one space to the next space is down to how free you can become from the identity of the form and the attachments that you have. All attachments come from matter, material world, in thought.
So basically be the light. Our job is to be the light, so others are attracted to that light and then go on a similar journey, rather than judging them around where they're at in their evolution.
There is no thing greater than one who applies the light, the wisdom or the knowledge that they seek.
Can I just read a small Bible verse about judgment? Because we've been speaking about it quite a lot, and it's from Matthew 7:1. It says, "Judge not, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the same measure you use, it will be measured to you.
Wow. And that's
So
what we're talking about. Well, it's what we're talking about in the virtues, isn't it? How the energy goes out and comes back.
The reciprocation of that energy field is just whatever you get attracted to. You know, you see beings that say, oh, I've been really wanting that to come to me. I've been praying to meet someone like you, or I've been praying for this and that. And the more virtuous they are, the more they will receive back to them. And it happens like in an instant. And this is how you can provide magic in your world, is that if you're virtuous and free and loving and caring and kind and patient, you get all of this back to you, and it will come straight away. And if you're on the opposite scale, people say, oh, why does it always happen to me, and I'm a victim of this and a victim of that? But they're talking themselves into these worlds, and this is what they're manifesting. They're becoming the words that they speak. You know, like if a child is naughty and you hear the parents saying, oh, you're so bad and you're so naughty, and they're just talking the child into it, rather than sitting down at their level and telling them how to become a better being and how to achieve something. They're talking them into that negativity. And you've got, this is the sin of pride. You've got the achievement and then the failure, and pride will take on both of those roles. So you've got the one that achieves everything and then gets the massive crash after that massive achievement, and then you've got the failure of someone being like, oh, it's always happening to me. And it's a reciprocation of that energy that they keep finding. So you have to find the balance between the two, like we spoke about with every virtue, and come from that balanced state of presence every time. And that's when you will receive your true gift.
Stop, look, and listen. Then take the steps that you need to take. And I think it's very important. There's a great verse, and I think, it's a 66th verse in the Tao, and it says that the sea lays low and all the rivers come to it. And what this truly is saying is life comes to you when you just let it. And what Michelle was saying is, beyond the physical, all life is instantaneously manifesting from the field. The vibration that you are, the vibration you carry, is actually creating this response. The visual stimulation, the interactions, and all things that are within your experience. To change your experience, you need to change the vibration of which you are. And there's only one way that the vibration will change and become a more frequency. And that's by doing this work, becoming virtuous. It's the only way that will set one free to be accessible to the higher planes that we can attune to for tune, which is for tuning. And it's only down to you, nobody else.
So a question I want to ask, and this is coming in and I don't know why, but I feel like I need to ask it. I'd love your kind of opinion on spiritual bypassing. Because that's, you know, again, something we're seeing people doing right now. And I think it would be beneficial for our audience to understand how that fits in with what we're talking about.
Could you define spiritual bypass?
Well, almost using spiritual principles to not necessarily work through the steps and actually understand everything that is going on right now, kind of avoiding looking at it. Because obviously, as we well know, this stuff is happening, it is going on, but we don't stay there. We move through it. It's part of our evolution to understand what's happening, but we don't necessarily want to stay there. We want to focus on creating our reality. But some people will bypass that and not even look at it, but then use spiritual principles to sanction that. I think that's...
So you would say that people are going straight to the place where they transcend the thought and to become here in this present moment, which dissolves all of this media ether, the world has been presented to us. There is a way that one can go directly to the source, but usually it doesn't last. So this is why the Temple of Solomon, or the Solomon, builds the Temple of the Twin Pillars to become even and balanced.
I'll just show you this one more time. When we're talking of like building and climbing, is the steps that you take towards the ultimate truth or the ultimate goal does take patience and diligence,
mercy, kindness.
When you're not when you're past the building stage, you can really get to that, like we spoke about with the 144,000 as you reach the top. This is where you become free from all of that, and then you can drop the knowledge. I always remember when I was learning the trade that I was in before, once I got to level 3, they said, right, forget level 1 and 2 now. It's the complete opposite from what you've learned, but we had to teach you that way to keep you safe initially. And then once you were at level 3, it was the opposite from level 2 and 1. But the safety aspect had to be there in the foundation levels to enable us to rise further up the ladder. And this is the kind of thing that we're trying to teach here as well. It's like, it's not about, okay, let's forget all of this stuff that's a foundation and let's move straight to the top, because then we'll have another massive crash and we won't be able to balance ourselves again. This is how we take the steps that are necessary for our being to be safe. And then we can learn the harder steps as we progress through the stage.
It's serious work. If one wants to transcend, it's serious. It's the great work. You may find a peace of mind. You may find a quieter mind and a happy existence. You will never touch the dimensions that truly exist here. You may like to fall trap. You may like to sit down and watch movies or look at things that make you feel slightly better. The external world should never create happiness inside of you. You are happiness. You are love. You are kind. You are mankind.
This is the learning place. This is the place where we learn all of this, and this is why we've got duality.
Purgatory. This is the purgatory realm.
And a lot of beings are like, oh, I don't want to know this part. I can't listen to the news, or I can't look at that person eating that food. I can't be near this. I can't go around people with corona. Once you know the ultimate truth, you can be anything you want to be. You can sit there in McDonald's and watch people eat. You can
eat it.
Eat it.
You know, once you've conquered
once you've transcended
space,
that, you can be around anything. You can listen to anything, and nothing affects you.
You have to go through the stages to get to that point. Like you can't bypass it.
Yeah, well,
you can't bypass it. You
the
may
ultimate
believe
truth is you can't, but you can, like Josh said, you can get to a place
for the moment.
At the moment, which will crash eventually. So you can hold yourself there for as long as, you know, it could be a week, a month, a year, but eventually you'll get to a place where you're like, actually, something's not right, and it comes out of balance either way, and then that's when it takes you straight back down to the bottom. And when you've got that rise, like we said, you have that massive fall that comes behind it at some time.
The only surprise you should have is the serpent rise. The serpent is the energy or the kundalini, and it should remain activated. It shouldn't just come
go on and off.
And you get completely. One must walk the path to get the eyes to see these things, and they do exist. And everything that you could ever imagine, every single movie that you've ever seen that sparks your interest into this side, it's available to you. But again, it's the able. You must unveil it yourself by progression. And each progression, the word pro is for Gression. The 7 that rightfully establishes the 2 sine waves ion, which is the magnetic field of positive, negative, and neutral charges. Life is for unlocking your own capabilities. These capabilities are the capped abilities that come from the by-light, which is from the Bible, which is the red and blue shift, the war against each corner on the boxing ring.
And this is why you guys teach, well, build the temple first, isn't it? To help people sustain the energy. So that's why the food is something that you guys are really...
The food is your basic one.
You need to live correct.
Point.
You live correct and allow the body to do what it needs to do. Otherwise, the mind becomes overshadowed by an oppressive layer of a lower vibration, which then feeds the ego.
We have to clean the temple. Everything needs to be clear so that you can see through the real eyes. You realize once your body and your all of the heavy metals are cleansed from the body, then you can see clear, and then you can move up that next step. And eventually, yes, a lot of the gurus that you see would go back to eating whatever they fancy, because they're at that point of enlightenment where actually their whole body system is in balance, that nothing affects them anymore.
But the true philosopher, Plotinus, ancient Greek, you see these people, they know that the only way to consume food is through the fruit. Fruit
Ultimate truth.
is the only thing that gives effortlessly. You know, we are the vampires, we are the zombies, we are the walking dead. Until one can truly walk their self through the shadow of the valley of death and see no evil, hear no evil, be no evil, and project themselves to the truest. It's only the truth that will set you free. There is nothing else. It's that one truth. Am I right in eating any flesh of another sentient being? It's not very kind, and I wouldn't like to do it myself. Is it the ultimate source of fuel? What's my source of fuel? It's glucose, so it's no. Is it making my body better by doing it? No, it's causing acidity.
Do I judge anyone for doing it? No, it's their choice. This is the things that we need to overcome, because the ultimate truth that we know to be right isn't us going down the street and thinking that everyone eating in a restaurant is doing something horrific, because it's their ultimate choice.
The play of consciousness in the screen of your awareness. You are here to just watch it. You do not love the world or anything in it. It's the screen. It's the illusion. It's the matter. It's the form. Now, if we fall trapped to judging people on the journey of themselves, they don't truly know the mechanics of the universe. You know, for us to try to tell somebody they shouldn't eat meat, for example, is to completely go against the natural progression of this evolutionary plane that we exist on. Those people need to eat meat because they need to go through the suffering that meat causes. It's only through the suffering one becomes awakened in the duality world.
I know
so that's why there's so much suffering here.
And it works. I know that from my candida. You know, like I've learned so much about my body that I never even knew before, because it's woken me up to it. So
Yeah.
You know, absolutely, there is a blessing inside of everything if you are willing to do the work. Like you said, if you choose to ignore it, then it would get worse.
Someone will be on the journey to seeking. That's the thing. And everybody aligns with the situations that they align with because of what they're searching for, or the vibration that they are in that seeking. You need not do absolutely anything. You just be, and life happens for you. Everything is about the spiritual evolution, or the evolution of man. It's taken thousands of lifetimes. You think that the mind itself is just going to drop away from you? It's been built up. It's been constructed to such a way to protect you in every single aspect of your life. Remember that the ego itself has accumulated so many lifetimes and so many experiences, but it's forgotten through certain neural pathways, but all exists within the field. Now, as the ego itself within this existence has accumulated the ideas, the personality, and the experiences, and now it believes it's the self, is constantly giving you a delayed relay and commentary of the reality that exists in the moment. You're never actually truly existing in the moment. You're being relayed to by the mind or the voices in the head. Now, to be able to live beyond that in the body of, you could say, in the womb of creation, in the body of God, in no sense, in the pre-sense, which is to be born again, which is the gift of Christ, which is the evolution of man. That's the greatest gift anyone could ever have. And you must deconstruct it yourself.
And can you speak to, because obviously the other thing I see in my work is where people are blocked in their seeing what's happening at the moment through their karma. You were talking about how obviously it's the mind, but also it's lifetimes of our soul's evolution to get to this point. So could you talk about how the virtues transcend karma? Because I think that's also very interesting, because even if you've had past life experiences that are maybe blocking you in this lifetime, by living virtuously, you can transcend that karma.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point of that. You can lose the body and you can lose the mind, but the energy
you can never lose the self.
Yeah, the energy that you collect, or the karma that you collect, will stay with you for eternity, which is what Eloise, you deal with. And I feel like that the beings that understand this reciprocation of energy, you know that if you do a good deed or you shine your light somewhere, that light will get reciprocated right back to you. So straight away, the angels form and a demon disappears. If you do something that's full of sin, a demon or a thought demon will arise, and there has to be something to bring that back into balance. Otherwise, you will snowball back into that energetic, karmatic sin again. So if we look at it as in a form of the angels and the demons, then the more angels we collect, the more we're pulling ourselves back to that center balance. And that's where we
offsets the demons.
Yeah. And that's when they go, and then you become that balanced state, and there's no more pushing and pulling. It's centered and it's strong. And this is where we're strong, united in the center. That's why we've got the spine that runs up with the 33 vertebrae that get fused as you get older and become the 26, because this is where we should remain. And this is the spine, the central nervous system, which is where the Kundalini rises. And I'll show you that picture one more time. As we get to that center point of balance where our energy can flow, each one, if it's blocked, each one will you'll just stay in that level and vibrate here. If your energy is free flowing and the Kundalini rises, this is where your all-seeing eye will be activated, and you realize the truth of everything. And this is where the star, the masculine and the feminine unite, and you become the 144,000, which is the freedom.
As you have an out-of-body experience, you will never be able to find yourself. You will just be the ever-presence, which is what the eye, or the all-seeing eye, truly is. This is the secret of all religions: Egyptian, Sanskrit, Christianity, Islam. The sin is the sine wave of consciousness that ends. So any action of sin creates the unconscious. Then the unconscious needs the mind. So the mind still exists. Only being very still and focusing on the very moment that is now will transcend beyond this. Mind serves a grand purpose for the unconscious.
If we practice the virtues, once you, like we said before, once you've practiced something enough times, it becomes automatic, it's natural. We've been talked out of that concept by all of the programming that we've had, what we've been bombarded with in the matrix. So we're not naturally in our natural state anymore. We've been kind of pulled away from that into that negative spin about, it's like a dog eat dog world where everyone's kind of fighting and at each other's throats all the time with something or other. Whereas we're coming back now to this natural balance state by using the virtues as a key, and then we can bring it back to that central alignment of collective consciousness raising again. Whereas we speak of the the negative side. It's not about pulling us to overly positive and fakeness and all happy and all jumping around in fairyland. It's about balanced and still behavior, that we can be calm and kind and compassionate to everyone and all beings.
Light can only arise from balance.
So as in, if you're, when you remain balanced, you'll know what to say and how to say it.
Yeah. Even electricity, magnetism, you'll see that it's only when in balance light will form. And this is why you have a spark, because it's a sine wave of light in its arcing format of electricity.
Yeah, no, sorry. Just as Josh is saying that, Eloise, I'm just going to bring up this picture of the numerology because it really fits in with that. We've got the yin yang today, which is what Josh was just saying, the only in the balanced state will light form. So I'll let Josh carry on whilst we're looking at the balanced state here. So
to liberate, we must free our eight, and then the eight is innate in all of us. Now, the balance is, we would call Dai, as we've expressed before, which is form and consciousness. So we must be very balanced in our form, in our natural state of supernatural, by aligning ourselves with the creation of the Creator. If you want to talk about words, the Creator is the Tauruses that see the full magnetic E and A, the E and A, E and A, red and blue, black and white. When these two forces are in pure balance, we have light emission. Emit reversed is time. We now exist in the inertia plane, the P lane, the light lane. Put a T, makes it physical as a planet. Now this is how we are existing here physically, and is coming from one space, which is the mind's eye, consciousness, that which you truly are. You are pure cosmic awareness, lost in a body and a mind.
trying to find balance in the presence.
Playing, searching for yourself. And the paradox is you can never find the self because you are the self.
Wonderful. And this is where we're going to be leading the guys who come and do the program with us, and then obviously come and join the community with us. You know, this is the ultimate prize, the ultimate goal is to remain balanced in every single interaction. And yeah, do you want to go through them?
I just want to, you know, as you're speaking, you know that you have no control over what you say. But you say prize. This is light. Oh, there we go. I think we're losing. The word prize.
Mm-hmm.
The prize is when your light rises.
When your light rises.
P is
okay.
light.
P is light, yeah.
Rise. And then we'll break it down further. This is the full magnetic consciousness Z wave within the ether. Now the Z is the Z ion, which is the Zion. Magnetism and creation has two waves, longitudinal and latitudinal.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how all words, all life is all synchronized, and you need not do anything, just be available, and everything will come to you or from you in your expression. But the virtues that we're presenting may not be there's a lot of people this is going to help from the beginning to rise themselves to this level. It is the ultimate keys into your progression. Each and every moment you'll see that if you don't act virtuously, you'll create a form of thought which would then be translated as a demon. And if you do act virtuously, the demon then goes away, and you, as Misha was saying, you collect these angels. And these angels are just the angles of light which enter your being, which help the vibration rise. You become, let's say, the goal of your form is to transmute yourself from lead to gold.
Mm.
Now the gold is the goal. G-O-L. And then you put the D, excuse the funny shapes. This is gold. This is the goal of our form. This is the 7 G voids of L in form. Now, G represents 7. The 7 is S even. The S even is the scattered light. And this scattered light within our bodies is the chakra system. Now, the goal of our form is to be able to collapse, to be able to bring forth the ultimate light, which is all of the colors activated, which is pure incandescent plasma. How do we release plasma? Dye, the imbalanced, the state of dye. Anybody look at the word dye, the dipolar state. This is where the two energies become so close that they create light. You are something so magnificent. And the significance of magnificence is to magnify sense. The significance is the sign if I can see. And your experience here is to evolve yourself. Focus on the work, the great work. Focus on being kind, loving, generous. Take no expectations of any experience. Have no expectations of anyone. To be or to have humility in every action that you do. Don't feed the ego. Feed the spirit.
Nice.
And life will give you exactly what you need. And there's that one phrase that I want you to catch hold of. It says, not about thinking how much better you are than anyone else. It's about how much better you are now than you were.
And then this is what we're going to be showing people about how to implement each virtue into their lives. So the different areas of their life, their family, their friends, their food, their path. You know, we're going to be showing you how to take humility and put it into your life and break it down so you know how to apply it and when to apply it, and then you start to see the impact, like you said, and it becomes second nature, because that's the goal, isn't it? That it's everything. You've reprogrammed yourself basically, instead of reacting.
Become free from the constant commentary of the mind.
It does like to comment.
This is the key. You walk through life having a commentary and you're not free. You're not actually here to express yourselves in any way, shape, or form with the divine. A meeting with the divine will happen as you progress through the virtues. Have a wonderful experience with them, play them and observe them, and you'll see everything aligns for you.
What happens is, like, the universe or the higher self will give you these tests. If you're failing your tests, another one will come up and it'll get harder each time before you break them back down. So initially, if you have a small test, it's better to tick the box, and then it won't get harder each time, because the programs that are implemented in the brain or the ego, they take you down this slippery slope, and you have to climb it, and it's a hard climb. If you're at the bottom,
and ladders.
Yeah, if you're in the depression stage of the past, like, the past will keep you in a state of depression because you're thinking about what could I have done, oh, poor me, this happened to me, I'm the victim. Down. And then you've got the future, is everyone's like tense and anxious about what's going to happen in the future. Oh no, I'm too anxious to do that. Or what about if this happens? But actually, what is important is in the here and now, none of that matters. Like, there is nothing happening now. Like, what is happening to us now? Absolutely nothing at all. But if I think, what about my past, where someone upset me, or what someone did to me the other day, or what they said to me, or it brings me into a state of depression, and I then feel like, I'm angry, and then the anxiousness of the future brings apparent I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to walk there just in case I see someone, or I'm not going to tell them this, my truth, because they might say this.
And that root of anger actually exists within pride, because
it's an umbrella of that.
You'll see how they all interlink, which is what we'll be teaching and expressing.
So
but I wanted to say that the past doesn't exist. It never can, it never will. The future does not exist. It never can, and it never will. The future is not set, but the vibration that you carry in the moment of now. So everything that we could say past is the spontaneous manifestation of the now, from the expression of the vibration that you are. You must think of things as energy, frequency, and vibration, and that will unlock all the secrets to the universe that lie unique in you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. How exciting. So we are creating our future with our vibration in the moment.
You are creating a constant moment of now.
Constant moment of now.
Yeah, the constant motion of now. Every moment is here and now. It cannot be anything else. You cannot live a past or a future. You just lived the now.
Wonderful.
Don't miss
Wonderful.
it. Don't miss living in the mind. Be here.
Be here now.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. And Michelle, is there anything you would like to go through with your numerology?
I'll just quickly show it again, because I got a couple of things about the balanced side of things. Is that
perfect?
Yeah. So we got the yin and yang energy, which is the balanced energy, which we've just been speaking about, and the importance of equality with this is the balanced state again, the die state that Josh was on about. And coming from the humble heart is where we need to stay. And these represent, the rising of the light. This is kind of like, if we imagine this is our point here, and we never move from this point, we've got the spring as it's rising, or the rising, the morning stage. And then if we turn it around to the side, this would be the summer, or the afternoon, here where the light is at its fullest. And then here we've got the evening, or the autumn, the fall, the fall of the light. And then we spin it one more time, and we've got the night time, or the darkness, and the winter stages. So we never move from this point. We are always here and now. It is everything else moving around us to give us those keys. And this is where number 117 comes in, with humility. I don't know if you've probably heard of it from a while ago, with the Chinese dragon. They've got 81 scales of the yang energy, and 36 of the yin. So it's the negative and the positive, and it's all about the Chinese dragon. And he's like a humility, kind of like the sign of humility. And what we're trying to do is bring it back to that true balance of the 9 here, the divine 9. And this is the total of the 7 and the 1 and the 1, where we add them up. So the divine 9 is where we see through that true eye, that single eye there of humility.
The 7 and the 11.
The 11, the 2 A's here, which would cancel out, because when you get the master number here, it always stays as one complete number, the 11, the 22. And that's where we get the balance from there. And the G, what Josh was speaking of earlier, is the God particle within, or the energy within, the chakra energies.
A sine wave of light.
And then together, they create this light of the Kundalini. As the Kundalini rises, it activates that real eye.
Pure magnetic energy. This is magnetic energy. The 11 and the 7 is balancing out the L's of the sine wave, which would then rise the light that carries all things. You can see here, this is the sine wave, and if you put another yin yang on top, it would just completely continue to activate.
And this is how it works. What I was speaking of with the spring, summer, autumn, and winter, and all of the bits that balance out our whole world. It's just a cycle of energy, and that's all it does. Is goes like this around us. We are the center, and everything else moves around us, reciprocating energy constantly.
As above, so below. As within, so without. The tour of us is the torus, and all things exist because of the wonderful nature of magnetism. Magnetism is the key and the secret to all things that exist, but beyond that, spirituality will take you further. And
all the numbers and the numerology and the etymology all links in, because we are all one, and it is all one.
And this is why you were saying that he who lives, or she who lives virtuously, will basically have everything moving around them.
Will be like the pole star with all the other stars revolving.
Center of the universe.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what we're aiming for, guys. We want to be the center of our own universe and have everything reflecting back to us in a beautiful, high vibrational, virtuous way.
Absolutely. You see the screen of consciousness, and you are the pure awareness experiencing.
Amazing. Fantastic. Wow. Okay. So I have to say, I feel quite sad that this is our final, well, it's our final Virtues show, isn't it? Which is, yeah, it's been an incredible journey. Obviously, this has been 8 different shows that we've done. Just to remind people, there is a program that is launching on the 19th of July. So if you've already purchased it, thank you for your patience. It's really appreciated. The first 2 modules will be live on the 19th of July. And at the moment, the program is £295, and that will increase. So it is a good idea if you want to join us to do it now. And we've had quite a lot of interest in creating a community as well of people who want to practice the virtues on an ongoing basis. So if you are interested in that, then please also sign up to the waiting list, because we are going to be sharing more details about the community once the program has launched. So I'll just pop it in the YouTube so people have got it. Please come and join the waiting list. And we are going to be doing some type of virtuous eating program, aren't we? We're kind of thinking about it at the moment, but that could be potentially next on our list. So if you beautiful beings are interested in learning more about building your temple, then let us know in the comments as well, because we're looking at creating a Virtuous X eating program. Yeah, the world is our oyster, and that vision I love. I can see it, I can feel it, I can touch it. Like, that is, the meek will inherit the earth. You know, it's the only way.
Yeah,
Absolutely. This is what's happening right now. The consciousness screen is expressed COVID-19, and it's allowing this wonderful division to happen without anyone needing to do anything. They're being shipped and shaped, and we're having the land to remain for our evolution and progress. It's an exciting time.
Really
Have faith,
exciting.
trust, love.
Eloise, just before we go, I've written a little poem that I'd like to read.
Yes, perfect.
Just as a conclusion to our Virtuous X Life show. So if you don't mind just spending an extra few minutes, and I'll
Absolutely.
Okay. Thanks for joining us on the Virtuous X Life, uniting the masculine and feminine like husband and wife. As we merge and balance like the 6-pointed star, we know now that energy is what we truly are. Slow and steady wins the race. Use these virtues at your own pace. To have this gnosis is a great base. You are the divine in this special place. No time to waste, jump on the case. Our demons we must face to conquer time and space. The turtle eats plants, they live the longest. The gorilla eats plants, they are the strongest. The giraffe eats plants, they are so tall. Humans, should eat plants, and that is all. These virtues are for you, your wake-up call. Just use and observe, no need for school. The earth is not a spinning ball, it's magnetism that brings spring, summer, winter, and fall. The matrix is a choice to block you to fall, but we are the divine, the one and the all. Charity, chastity, kindness, and patience, humility, diligence, and temperance. These are 7 keys that we truly need to live vibrant and free, so that we can see the philosopher's stone. You've always known that there's a special place in your heart where we are one, never apart. Alone is all one, the complete, it's done. From the one, we become the no one, the 0 point, like the center sun. To live in the now, reversed is one. When we have one, we become the one. We are all one, alone. So let's reverse it back to the now. To live in the now, the Virtuous X life will show you how. With patience we allow and give our vow. Of the truth that's within us, listen to the one you can trust. I know you felt it too. It's just like a sprinkling of divine stardust. We have so much gratitude for this community where we can all live abundant and free. Open your one true eye to see. Within these virtues lies a key. Thanks for joining us on the show. We see your vibrant auras glow. Now it's time to go and walk the righteous path you know. With the Virtuous X life course, we connect back to the source. United we stand, the unstoppable force. Charity, chastity, kindness, patience, diligence, temperance, humility. We love you all, beautiful X family.
Beautiful. That was amazing. Really wonderful. And does that just kind of come through you?
Yeah.
Wow. I can feel poetry books in your future.
Oh, thank you.
No, really beautiful. Thank you. I'd love to get a copy of that, please, Michelle.
Yeah, I'll send it over to you so you can pop
Yeah.
it on the course as well. But I just wanted to say we've got so much gratitude for everyone that's touched our hearts with, you know, all of the work that we've been doing together, and with you, beautiful Eloise. I know you've put a lot of time and energy into it with us, and yeah, we've loved every minute of it. It's been a real nice journey going over them, because also we get to recap all of the bits and pieces that we haven't looked at for a very long time. So it's really nice to have a little look back into the virtues and recap with the energy and stuff. So we've really enjoyed it, haven't we?
We love you all very much.
Yeah, we love you all very much. Thank you, guys. Really, I've really enjoyed it. Like, I have to say, it's kind of going to be one of my goals to really embody it. You know, it's one thing to learn about it, it's then another thing to put it into practice, and then another thing to really get to the stage where it's automatic. Like, I know, I see it in you guys, it's totally automatic. You know, when you do anything, you know, it's automatic for you to respond in that way, and that is definitely something I would like to follow suit with, because yeah, it makes so much sense in my head. Everything's energy, everything has a frequency. What you put out, you get back. I want to be the pole star.
You are already. You just have to.
I want to be a virtuous pole star.
Just got to surrender the mind.
Oh, but the changes that we've seen in you as well, Eloise, throughout the time is just incredible. So, like we say, the small steps become the bigger ones when you look back in even weeks of time that you practice it and you do it. Becomes you know, you look back and you think, yes, I've really come this far, and you can, you know, accept that self-love and that self-care, and you know, you've done so well.
Thank you, I really appreciate that. And it's just the start. basically. You know, I think there's an incredibly bright future ahead. Yes, the world is doing some weird and wonderful stuff, but it's all divinely
Always
planned.
does. It always does.
It always
The
does.
evolution of Eloise, consistent progression. We love you so much.
So guys, come and join us. We'd love you to be with us. As I said, the program's launching 19th of July. And then if you want to come and join us, but the program doesn't float your boat, then come and join the community. And if that's something that interests you, please sign up to the waiting list and we will give you more information. And then we are going to be back, we think, with some new shows. We just need to sort of connect, collaborate, just check in with each other about what that looks like. So we will keep you posted. If you haven't signed up to Josh and Michelle's Instagram, please go and check out XL fam. X.el fam. And
Yeah.
then
Website xfamunity.com.
and the website is up. Woohoo! xfamunity.com. Go and check it out. It's a beautiful piece of work. And if you haven't already, please come and follow me at aloise.life or on Facebook, Aloise Surfleet Middleton. Thank you guys. Love to you all. Thank you so much for being with us. And we will be back sooner rather than later. So don't worry. But as I said, please come and join us on our program, which is launching on the 19th of July. And we'll see you soon.
Love and light.
Love and light. Bye-bye.